Welcome to my second long video. The first one I was reviewing books or talking about books, and this one I am actually going to be writing a little bit in the book that I want to hopefully publish. I'm not sure what route I'm doing, if I'm doing traditional or self-publishing yet, but it's exciting writing this book. I've already got a little bit of it wrote, and we're just here to write a little bit more today with me. I don't know how long this video is going to be. We're just going to see, and as I'm typing up, I'll talk about maybe like how I get some of my inspiration and some of my ideas. So I got my lemon water, I got a snack, and I got my computer. So let's get started. And I got a little helper. He really wants to write it. He has ideas for it. Yeah, he's just a baby. So I actually have a couple of books on here that I am hoping to write and finish and publish one day. Right now I am going to be working on the first one I've ever started writing on, because that's the one I'm furthest through. So the way I've set it up is I'll highlight things in my book. So let me see if I can show you a little bit of it. So sorry for the weirdness of it. So far this is just what it looks like. I like how I set it up. So I put in gray might move, but I want to use it. So I highlight something that I'm like, well, maybe this will work better someplace else, but I want to use it in the story, but I'm moving it. Green is, I like the idea, but I need to elaborate more on it. Like, I like where this is going, but I need to definitely explain more of it. Red is, I don't really like how it sounds, probably needs a redo. It might also be a deletion. It just depends on how far I go. Yellow is names of people either spoken once or more than once. And only the first time that I use their name is their name highlighted. That way I just remember where I've introduced that character, and I can go through. I will get rid of these highlights when the book is done and I've reread it, but this is just easier for me to see who all I've got. Blue is an important place, used once or even more than once. The reason why I'm doing that, even if it's used only once, is that way if because this is going to be a fantasy novel, I probably should have put that in there first. When I have the map made, if it needs to be on the map, I remember what places were mentioned. That way it's not just like, oh, well, what happened to them. And then purple is just the place where they live. Yeah, you can see right there I said that I might change it. I don't really like the sound of it. So yeah, I know it may not make sense to you, but it does make sense to me. So that's how I'm working through it so far. It makes sense to me the way I'm doing it. I'm just typing as I have ideas. A lot of my ideas I store other places. Like I get bits and bits of things, and then I put them other places, and then I put them in the story as they come along. Okay, so that's how I'm organizing it. I'm more of just like a as it comes. I type it up as it comes. I write it down. That way, and it's just, that's easier for me than to do it that way. I have ideas for like the beginning, middle, ending, and then like parts of the book. I have so many ideas that I'm not sure where they're going yet. So I just write them down, and then as I type in the story, as I write up the story, if I'm like, oh, well, that makes more sense to go here, then I will go there. And as I said, if I like the idea, but if I think I need to move it, I highlight it, and then I'll go back through as I'm rereading it. I'm like, oh yeah, I highlighted that. Let's see where it could fit. And then I look through and see if I want to move that, because if I move an idea, it's mainly like a scene or like a thing I'm introducing, and I'm like, does it need to be introduced here, or does it need to be introduced later? Does that scene fit here better, or does it fit someplace else? Because you could always rework your story, you can always change how you do it and when you do it. So enough of that, let's get to writing a little bit. Okay, so far I've added a good bit of the scene I left off on. Sometimes I don't finish a scene. I don't feel like I have to. If I'm in the middle of a scene and I don't have any more ideas for it at that moment, I will stop in the middle of a scene and then come back to it to finish working on it, because sometimes I don't plan out a whole scene. Sometimes I plan out bits of it, and mainly like the ideas come mainly while I'm driving and commuting back and forth to work and home, because I also teach elementary school. So a lot of my ideas come while I'm driving, and I'm just like, it's quiet, it's early in the morning, or it's late in the evening after a long day, and that's just where my ideas come from most of the time. So I can't really do anything, I can't write it down in that moment. So I'll record myself speaking my ideas out loud, and then I'll go back and write them down. That's just what I do. So that's how I think of it, because I think of it like a movie in my brain. I'm imagining the scene play out, I'm imagining the people, and so I'll talk it out, then I'll write it down, and then I'll put that idea somewhere, because maybe the idea is not for the moment I'm in the story that I'm writing. Maybe it's for later, and I just think of different bits and pieces, but it all connects to the plot of my story so far. So that's just how I plan it out. And then yeah, I stop in the middle of a scene if I don't have any more ideas, and I wait until I do. And sometimes I'll move around. I do that quite often. I'll move around and I'll go back to a scene if I think of something else for it, or I'll move forward to a scene. Like I have a part in here that isn't even close to where I'm currently writing, but I thought of it. That was actually the first thing I wrote for this story, was a scene that's not in the first part of it. It's not. And I thought of it and I wrote it down, and that's what really propelled me into it. Yeah, so this story has actually went through a lot of changes. I might talk about that in a different video, just how all it's changed, and or I'll just do it now. It started out as a historical fiction novel, because I've always been like obsessed with medieval times, and I know it would have been an awful time to truly live in, if depending on your class rank. But it was still my favorite time period if I had to pick one. So I was originally going to make it a historical fiction medieval story, and then my characters even had all different names, because I've changed it to be more fantasy names. Some of them still have like regular names, because you can use regular names if you want to, but their names changed, because I was trying to do more medieval, like names people would have had in medieval times, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to change it. So I changed their names, and I changed the way the story goes, and I added, because when I started writing the scene, it just started to feel fantasy. And I was like, okay, it's just going to be a fantasy story. Why not? Why not add all these magical elements into it? Why not make it the types of books that I like to read? Because that's the types of books I like to read. I like to read fantasy over all genres. So I just was like, let's just do that. So it changed drastically from what it was going to do. And that's okay. If you start off on a story and it wants to go in a different direction, that's fine. You can change the genre of the story if you want. You can change the direction it goes, but still stay in the same genre. And that's what happened here. It changed completely. And then at the bottom of my thing, I'll write down little ideas and little things that I'm having, like just thoughts that I want to put in the story, that I want to put maybe in later or earlier, and just add scenes as I go. So far I have 17,000 words, a little over. So I think that's pretty good. with how many, my cat's doing something, words I've got. I know I need a whole lot more in order to have a whole novel. And then some of it's also just like my highlighting system, where I have highlighted what I'm going to do, and then also some of it's the ideas at the bottom of the story that is for later, but there will be going in it. So yeah. Sometimes I don't write for very long. I want to start writing in it even more in this one, because this is the first book that I want to put out into the world when it's done. The other books will happen when they do happen. I'll be working on them maybe too in a video, because sometimes I go back and forth between the books if I have an idea for one and I have an idea for another one, because it's okay to also write multiple stories at once if you want to, and just go back and forth between them, because sometimes you'll have an idea and you're like, oh my gosh, I really like this idea, but it doesn't fit into the story you're writing. So instead of just changing your whole story, if you really like it, you could just make a new story, which is fine. You can do that, because no matter how you end up publishing the story, you can always have more than one book. That's my thought anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this small little session of writing. I know it wasn't very long. I know the video wasn't very long, but as I get more used to the longer videos, I'll definitely start doing even longer ones, hopefully, and talking more about it. So thank you. Hope to see you again. Subscribe if you're not.